Don't we love a wedding drama over here on this channel? Weddings bring out the worst in people, right? In the entitlement, the pressure, bridezillas, groomzillas, mother of a bridezilla. A lot can go down. Sometimes because people want it to be perfect, sometimes because there's jealousy, sometimes because people expect things to go a certain way and they don't. There are many reasons why weddings can be so incredibly stressful. And we have a story time today about a wedding, and I don't know what it is. So let's just go and watch. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. Hype it if you want to. Yeah, let's go.
I found out in real time that I was not invited to a wedding that I thought I was attending at that moment.
Uh, so you went to a wedding that you weren't invited to, but you were there already? I would just like, yeah, sit down. You're here anyway.
For context, this person is somebody I went to high school with, and we've hung out. I mean, not that often. We live in different states, but we talk pretty regularly on like Instagram. She came to my wedding. Her and her fiance came to my wedding. And so I got a letter in the mail that said, "You're invited to celebrate the wedding of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah with a party on the lawn of this place." And then on the back of the card, it says food and live music. It has their registry, the location, the dress, everything you would need to know for a wedding.
Wait, no, I need to listen to that again.
The party on the lawn of this place. And then on the back of the card, it says food and live music. It has their registry, the location, the dress, everything you would need to know
So it's not the wedding, it's just a party, right? Because usually on wedding invites, it's like you're invited to the wedding of whoever.
for a wedding.
Oh,
So
for a
me and
wedding,
my
fine.
husband both thought we were going to a wedding. But when we got there, people were dressed very casually, and we knew it was casual because she told us beforehand it was casual. But you know, if you're going to a wedding, you still kind of like, even if it's casual, you're more on the
You,
like fancier end of casual.
yeah, you have to dress up for people's weddings. Listen, it does surprise me how people turn up to other people's weddings. It is a formal event unless stated otherwise, right? And you know the people whose wedding you're going to, how do they dress? Would they want you to dress formal? What's the place like? You know what I mean? You don't get invited to a wedding and assume you can dress down. I think that's just rude.
But we get there and there's people in like all ranges. Other people also in like dresses and nice slacks, and then other people in like literal sweatpants and
Nah, see that's sweatpants anyway. To if you're invited to anything, isn't is rude. Sorry.
in like shorts and stuff. So I see my friend and she's in like this pretty jumpsuit and she's like out and about. So I'm like, oh, like this must really be like a casual wedding. Like this must be like good for her. Like
Because
she's
yeah,
like she's not a very bougie person. So it would be like her to have like a garden party casual type wedding. But I did think it was weird that like she would let the groom see her um before the ceremony.
old school wedding rules are just like, you know what? Let's not anymore. Let's not. No more speeches. No more walking down the aisle separate. No, that's quite nice. That's quite nice to see. You know, sometimes formal wedding, not formal weddings, classic weddings aren't for everyone, and that's
So
okay.
I find one of the people I know and I go sit with them. And this person is a childhood friend of my friend who I've known since we were in high school, even though we didn't go to the same high school because we would always all hang out together. So I'm like starting to get confused a little bit. And I asked this girl, I'm like, is she already married? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. And my husband's like, is the ceremony going to be after dinner? And she's like, I don't know.
So everyone's kind of confused about what they've been invited to. And this friend saying, "No, I don't know when the ceremony is going to be." Also, that's a late wedding, right?
And then her boyfriend goes, no, they're getting married tomorrow. So come to find out, this girl, I was like, I don't know, was a bridesmaid in the wedding, so she clearly knew
So she
like
did know.
when the wedding was and like why the secrecy. So I'm like, well, I was like, oh my god, did I miss the invitation in the mail? I'm like, sometimes I don't check my mail like that often, but I feel like my friend would have texted me if I didn't RSVP for the wedding.
Yeah.
And so the girl that's sitting across from me is like, I don't know, you should go check with blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm not gonna check with blah 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 because if we were invited to the wedding tomorrow, then she would have texted me beforehand if I didn't RSVP. So then I hear my friend like talking to
I mean, I got married recently, and everyone who didn't RSVP, I didn't message them or contact them to say anything. I was just like, hey, you're either coming or you're not.
other people about the wedding, and like everybody's like, I'll see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow. And I'm like, hold up, like I thought this was the wedding. And I have always been like an eccentric, like weird person, like especially as a kid. I was like in high school, I was so immature, so annoying. So like I would get left out a lot, I would get made fun of a lot. So this whole like situation just made me feel like I was back in high school.
Trauma.
Like I don't know what's going on. And then I find out like I'm not actually invited to the wedding and like this is the
You don't have to deal with that as an adult. Let me tell you, right? Listen, the couple getting married have every right to not invite you or invite you to their wedding. If that upsets you, say goodbye. We're not friends anymore. I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to do this. Do I think it's a little bit drastic to do so? Sure, but that's your choice. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. If it's making you feel like that way, trauma from the past, it's not good. It's not a good situation to be in, you know? But again, they can invite and not invite whoever they want on their day.
rehearsal dinner and all these people are going and all these people are in the wedding and whatever. I didn't expect to be a bridesmaid, like obviously not, but like usually when you invite somebody to your wedding, you are invited to their wedding, right?
No, no. It's not take it in turns. It's what can you afford at that time? Who do you actually want at your wedding day? Maybe you're not as close to this person as you think you are.
So I'm thinking I'm invited to this wedding and I'm not. And me and my husband like gave a gift because like the registry was on the card or whatever, but I would not have.
That's kind of rude. That is kind of rude, right? I think she's gonna say you wouldn't have a registry if you're not invited to a wedding, and I agree. Don't invite people. Don't not invite people to your wedding and have like this weird party. Have it after the wedding. Once you got married, be like, it's unfortunate we couldn't invite everyone, but we're having, a get together at this place. You're more than welcome to come. And people will naturally bring you gifts, but don't give people the registry. You know what I mean?
Given as much of a gift. Had I known, I was not actually invited to the actual fucking wedding. And me and my husband both had to take personal time to attend this party.
Oh,
And we also had to pay for a hotel room and pay for gas, which is crazy right now to
yeah,
get here because it was in a different state.
yeah.
So it's like we started to get pissed because first of all, I work at a school and I'm not supposed to take time off at like in June. I have to take time off. I have to like prove I'm going to a wedding or graduation. And even my work with the invitation she sent thought it was a wedding. I don't even like care.
I need to see this invitation because in my mind it kind of sounds like this is an event for people that weren't invited to the wedding but they would still like to spend some time with, or maybe they assume everybody wants to wish them well, so come to this event before my wedding. I've never heard someone do this before. Have a pre-wedding party for people that aren't necessarily invited to the wedding. I think that's kind of strange.
About not going to the wedding because I know how hard it is to make a wedding list because me and my
Right.
husband did that twice last year because we got married two times because we're
Oh,
bougie. So I would have rather her just texted me and be like, "Hey, like I have a huge family. I know you invited me to your wedding and I'm sorry, but I can't fit you in mine, but you can come to this party." And I wouldn't have come.
yeah.
I If I knew it was a party and not the wedding, I would not.
Listen, I agree. Fine. It's not as important as the actual wedding day itself, and you have to take time out of work, you have to travel. And it's like, you know what? That doesn't equal in importance to me. It's not your wedding day, it's not your funeral, it's not your baby shower. You know what I mean? The amount of money I'm gonna lose out on getting you a gift and traveling to this place for a day that's a hyped up party is not worth my
Have
time.
gone. because I would not have taken time off of work for
Yeah.
this, and my husband would not have taken time off of work for this. I want
Yeah.
to see you getting married. I don't want to come to your rehearsal dinner like
Yeah.
of a wedding that I'm not invited to. That's crazy. And give you a gift, and you have your registry on there, and I gave you a gift. Like, I would have not given you the gift I gave you if I'm not paying for my fucking plate. So anyway, it just made me feel like absolute shit. It made me feel like I was back in high school again. Um, I oh my god. Another weird thing that happened is this girl that I was really close friends with in high school, like it was our whole friend group. I haven't seen her in like 10 years. Okay? And they were like, "Oh, she's coming to the party." And I was so excited. I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going to see her. Yay, I'm so excited." So, I guess I was in line for food and she was in line for food like behind us, and the girl whose party it was for told her, "Hey, oh, Sam's up there. Go say hi to Sam." Um, and she never said hi to me, which to me is fucking crazy. And then another one of our friends was there that she was always nasty to me. She was in our friend group too, but she was always the one that was like so nasty to me in front of everybody else, and just like I was just like joking around with her, and she'd be like, "Oh, you're not woke," and I was like, "No, I'm literally. It's like an actual. It's a joke. Like, I am woke. That's why I'm making this joke." Okay, and it like, and I
Sar-
maybe
Sarcasm. Sarcasm works really well in the UK. I'm not sure about everywhere else. So, sorry, did she say that somebody said to the bride, she's over there, go and say hi, and she didn't? That could be because a lot of the time, people are busy, especially being the main person, the main character on this wedding day. But that is a bit dodgy. It seems like they're trying to avoid the fact that she's not invited to this
she was
wedding.
joking about that too. But I just like, oh, and that girl that didn't say hi to me and her used to be
Oh,
like
oh,
like roommates, like best friends. And so I was like, "Oh, did you see so and so?"
oh.
And she's like, "No. Why would I say hi to her?" And I was like, "You guys are best friends." And she's like, "We had a falling out." Girl, how would I know that? I haven't seen either of you in 10 years. Like, why are you being rude to me? Like, I can't. So after the party, I was just feeling like absolute shit. Like, they made me feel like such shit. Um, and so I was thinking, like, what would I tell my students to do if they brought up this situation to me? And I would tell them to unfollow them or block them. So that's what I did. I just unfollowed them and removed them as followers from me. Um, and I'm not gonna talk to them, and I'm not gonna engage with them anymore, because just the way I felt afterwards, I never want to feel like that again in my life.
Yeah, and you don't have to. You don't have to deal with it as an adult at all. They're probably going to see this video too of her over on TikTok, so at least they know how she feels.
And if they are not willing to protect my mental health, I'm gonna do it myself. And at one point, the girl whose party it was like, um, "Oh yeah, sorry, like I hate it. Like, our venue had a limit." Bitch, every fucking venue has a limit. Our venue had a limit. Both our venues had limits. Guess what? That's why we had two weddings. One small one because it had a really tiny limit.
Yeah, but not everyone can have two weddings, though. And if there is a limit to a venue, you are going to only invite the people that are the most important to you in your life in that moment.
And one big one so everybody else could be included. That's how you got included in my wedding.
But then doesn't the party that she's having make you included in her wedding? Technically, right?
And I know, like, maybe she couldn't afford it, which is fine, but just like tell me I'm not invited to the wedding. You know what I mean?
I need to see this
Anyway,
invite.
so yesterday she texted me and was like, whatever she said. And I just not answering. I'm deleting it, and I'm not answering it because I'm just not going to be their friends anymore. I'm just not, and I don't feel like explaining anything to them, and I don't feel like arguing with anybody, and I don't see them often enough for it to actually affect my fucking life. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry the story was so long, but yeah.
So on screen, the comment says, oh, I'm going to have to lean in to read. You do not invite someone to the rehearsal dinner who isn't invited to the wedding. This is common sense. This was a gift grab. Okay, I do kind of agree with that.
My video where I found out that I wasn't invited to a wedding that I thought I was currently at, but it was actually the rehearsal dinner. So I've never had a video with so many comments. So I had to like take notes so I could try to address like the most commonly asked questions. So first, I'm gonna read directly off of the invite for you guys so you can hear what it says.
Okay,
I can't
okay.
show you because it has their pictures and their information, and I really don't want to dox her. So it says, "You're
Okay, wait, before we hear this, let's think. Would we assume this is an invite to the wedding or something else?
invited to celebrate the wedding of blah 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 and blah 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 with a party on this location." And then it says when, the time, where, how to park, the dress, um, and who to RSVP to.
Okay, I straight up, I wouldn't think that was an invite to the wedding. I would think the reception, perhaps. If it's like you're invited to witness the marriage off, then I'm like, okay, yeah, then I'm at the actual wedding. But if you're invited to celebrate the wedding off and with a party, then I'm like, okay, it's the after party.
Who to RSVP to has food and live music provided, and then it has the registry. So, with all that information included, that's why I thought it was the wedding.
That's a reception. That's a reception invite. I would take that as a reception invite, not the wedding, not the actual ceremony itself.
Um, and some people were saying, like, did you know it was the rehearsal dinner beforehand? I did not know. And
Yeah, the fact that it's a rehearsal dinner, people who aren't invited to the wedding don't go to a rehearsal dinner. Was it actually a rehearsal dinner, or did someone just say that, like, guessing? Because it doesn't even sound like a rehearsal dinner.
by this card, there's no indication to know it was the rehearsal dinner. Her friend's boyfriend was the one that was like, oh, this is the rehearsal dinner. So, speaking about her friend, somebody commented that they think that person just didn't want to step on the bride's toes, and I totally agree. I don't think she's meant to say anything like super negative. I think she was just like, she didn't know how to answer the question. Like, it's not her wedding. She doesn't want to say like,
That's
oh,
true.
you're invited, and not be invited. You know what I mean? Weddings are expensive. And then I also want to say, I think that my friend had good intentions. So I think that she intended to include me. Um, that being said, I don't think she did it the right way.
You know what? I agree. I think it's important to say to people if they think they're going to be invited, actually you're not, because we have a limit, and obviously we want our closest family there, our closest friends there, and we would love to have you in the evening because we want you to be part of our day. It's dead simple. It's dead easy. It's also not that deep in my eyes.
And that's the reason I'm gonna keep her distance and really not have her in my life anymore, because nowhere on the card did it indicate that this wasn't the wedding. It
I disagree. I disagree. It sounds it's a party. It says it's a party. Celebrate the thingy with a party. Sorry.
was this was the day before the wedding, so the rehearsal dinner. Um, and had I known that, I probably wouldn't have gone because I had to take personal
Yeah.
time and get a hotel room and drive there to another state. Like, it's just a lot for to not witness her getting married, which is what I would have wanted to see. Um, and then other people were asking, were others not invited? Were others there that weren't invited to the wedding? And yes, there were other people there that were not invited to the wedding, but her now husband is sort of like a community figure. So it was like people, like his clients basically in the community that were also at that rehearsal dinner party thing, but not
Ew.
the actual wedding. Um, Other people were asking, did I say anything to the bride? At one point, I said to her, like, can't wait to see the pictures, I guess. And that's when she responded to me with, like, oh, sorry, my venue has a limit. Which, again, every
I think, listen, unless you are very, very close to someone, I do think it's rude to be like, suggest you should have been invited. I do think that's kind of rude because especially if you've been married, you're very lucky you can have two weddings. But I feel like if you've been married, you know that, there are limits. There are conversations for days and weeks about who is coming, who isn't, who's sitting next to who, and but you do have to come up with a decision at the end of the day. Yeah.
venue has a limit. But that's just, that's just
Yeah,
it.
every venue has a limit.
And
You
then I
weren't,
did leave
sorry, every venue has a limit, and you weren't included in that limit, and that's okay.
the gift. Um, My husband said he wanted to go try to grab it at the end of the night, but I'm a people pleaser, so I left it. Whatever. Whatever. Just I guess it'll hopefully bring me good karma. Um but yeah, I don't think I have any other updates. So if you have any other questions, let me know. And thank you also for validating my feelings because I kind of felt crazy afterwards. Some people were like, "Oh, I would cry," and I definitely did cry the next day. And
Listen, I understand being let down and feeling a little bit hurt, especially if it brings up old memories of feelings that aren't so great. But we all need to remember it's just a wedding. It's just a wedding. It's just a wedding. I know I'm so feelingless when it comes to things like weddings, but if you're not invited, you're not invited. Think about how close you are in comparison to everyone else, all these people's family, and that the venue has a limit. She says every venue has a limit. Okay, that's the point. Every venue has a limit. You weren't in that limit, and that's fine.
it's not because I wasn't invited to the wedding, because had there been open communication, that would have been fine. But it's just
But then imagine going around to everyone, oh, you're not invited, you're not invited, you are invited. That's what invitations are for.
the way that I felt like an afterthought. I felt like um she was trying to include me somehow. Um I just think the way she went about it wasn't okay. Like, if we're truly friends, you know what I mean? If you're really my friend, don't go about it that way. You have open communication.
You have to then assess how good of friends you actually are. Is a feeling mutual on both sides?
I know weddings are expensive. I had a wedding. Like, I know you can't include everybody you want to include. I would have understood.
Okay, so what's
But
the
to be
problem?
invited to something that I think is the wedding,
You think is the wedding, right? Am I getting? Listen, I would have even got this invite if I was confused about it. I would have been like to the person, is this for ceremony or is this not? Because to me, that invite didn't say wedding.
and then I show up and it's the rehearsal dinner, and people are like, see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow, feels bad.
That does, yeah, I can understand. I do understand that can feel bad. I do understand that can make you feel left out. I mean, you should have done it the day after, or even like after the wedding, you know, like the reception. People know it's not the full deal. I think they went about that really strangely, but again, it's up to them how they want to do it. Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know. I feel like that's not normal to have a wedding in that order. If I mean, we said no gifts at our wedding, but even the people I would have invited not to the ceremony and to the ceremony, I would have been like, you don't need to bring me anything. We don't need anything. And perhaps if I wasn't inviting people to the wedding, but I had a registry, I wouldn't include that on people who are just invited to a reception. I assume there are going to be loads of different opinions on this. Let me know your opinions down below. Are people too entitled to other people's wedding days? Should she have been invited to her friend's wedding? Was she right to feel a little bit left out? I mean, she feels how she feels, and that's her feelings. Let me know what you think down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that hype button if you can. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye.